So this video was not really supposed to be made. I was not planning on talking about Escape Room Tournament of Champions in its own video and doing its own review for it. I do plan on doing that for M. Night Shyamalan's Old, which I'm seeing this Friday, or actually I'm seeing it the day this video goes live. But I knew after watching Escape Room Tournament of Champions, which is now going to be referred to as Escape Room 2 in this video, I knew I had to do a video on it because I'm very upset as a fan of the first one. As you can see by the title of this video, it is indeed a rant. I'm in a feisty mood today, I'm not gonna lie. I am still upset. It's been a couple days. I've slept on this movie a couple times and I still feel upset about it, so this video might be a little bit irritable, a little bit heated. I don't know where it's going to go. All I have are phone notes. I just took some notes on my phone. Nothing in this video is really planned out other than these notes, so I'm just gonna rant away. There will be spoilers, lots of spoilers in this video for the movie. I don't know if it matters too much because I don't recommend you going to the theater to watch it, even if you're a fan of the first one. I'll try to not spoil the entire movie in the beginning of this video and give you a warning when I am going to spoil it on the screen, even though my thoughts may be jumbled. We'll see how that goes. I'm gonna try my best. If you're really, really worried, just skip this whole video until you've seen the movie. So if you're new to my channel, I love Escape Room, the first one. It was one of my favorite movies that came out in 2019. I've seen it a bunch of times. I own it on DVD. It's such a good movie in my opinion. I give it 5 out of 5, which is, you know, pushing it, I think. It's not a perfect movie by any means, and it's not even the story or the characters themselves that I love that much. It's really the rooms that make me love Escape Room and why I revisit it all the time. It's kind of become a comfort movie to me. Naturally, I was excited for Tournament of Champions to come out. I avoided the trailer like the plague. I would turn around in my seat when I went to the movies and the trailer would be playing. I was just avoiding as much as I could because I did start watching the trailer once and realized they were spoiling everything, and I already knew so much going into this movie. And what I saw in the trailer actually did not excite me, so I went into this movie already with low expectations. I was really not expecting much from this movie. I thought it would be similar in tone to the first one, but not as good. I knew it was following Zoe and Ben still, so that's kind of meh for me. What I really wanted them to do was take it a whole new direction. I've seen a lot of people compare this franchise, it's not even a franchise yet, but it will be because there will be a third and maybe a fourth, I don't know. I've seen a lot of people compare it to Final Destination, and although I wish it could be that, and it could be the 2020s version of Final Destination, I don't think it's actually living up to that potential. It's kind of got the Purge thing going on where it has so much potential, but it kind of just repeats the same things over and over again instead of taking it in different directions like Final Destination. They're connected in a way, obviously, but technically they're all independent films besides the first one and the second one. Anyway, so already I went in not really expecting to be obsessed with it like I am the first one, but I thought it would at least be enjoyable, be a fun watch. I get to see more rooms because the rooms are my favorite things about these movies, and I was still disappointed. I was still let down, and this is such a bad movie. I'm sorry, I have to say that it is a bad movie on so many levels, so let's get into exactly why. I have a lot of nitpicky things. Like I said, feisty mood, yeah, I'm gonna nitpick. And I'm gonna nitpick because I love the first one and I'm upset as a fan watching Tournament of Champions. Okay, first up, we have the recap in the beginning. What was that about? I don't understand why Adam Robitel wrote it that way. Why does he think we're stupid? As if we hadn't seen it. When do you ever see movies give recaps like that? It's almost like previously on Escape Room. I don't like to feel like the movie makers think I'm dumb. I hate that feeling more than anything. Please do not tell us everything. Show us, right? Show, don't tell. It's key in writing. This movie had none of that going on. It told us literally everything. There were so many lines that we could have done without because it just told us instead of just showing us. We got it. We got it. I feel like Escape Room 2 thinks that we're stupid. Not only do we have a recap in the beginning of this movie showing us everything that happened in the first movie, every single room, it just shows the whole movie basically, it's a summary. It goes into flashbacks in Zoe's therapy sessions. Granted, some of the flashbacks didn't happen, I think, in the first one. Honestly, they could have worked in a couple more flashbacks into the therapy session or showing her having PTSD flashbacks to the escape room. in the first movie, instead of showing us a whole entire recap, we could have just had little flashbacks here and there. We've seen the first one. Some of us many times. I know what happened. Okay, so I mean, I don't know if these are spoilery, telling you how many rooms are in it compared to the first one, so I don't know, maybe you should just avoid this whole video if you don't want to be spoiled, but I don't even recommend you watch it anyway, so, you know, stay tuned in the video, who cares? These are kind of non-spoilery things, so, and I'll get into more spoilery things about this movie later. Anyway, 4 rooms versus 6 rooms. The rooms in this one, I didn't hate them. I liked the beach room a lot. I think that one was my favorite one, which isn't a spoiler because they show you every single room in the trailer. So if you've seen the trailer, it's one of those situations where you've pretty much seen the movie. And you can probably anticipate what's gonna happen in the movie too. So the first movie had 6 rooms, all different, like all really well thought out, very intense rooms that you would definitely not want to be a part of. This one, Tournament of Champions, had 4. And kind of 5, because I'm not counting the last room. That's not even a room to me. If it's supposed to be, it's really, really lame. So I count 4 technical rooms, and while they are original, and they were actually really cool, if these exact rooms were replicated in a movie in what the sequel should have been, and it executed well with the characters and everything, I would have enjoyed these rooms. I think they took away some rooms and didn't do as many because they're kind of going more into the plot in this one, and there's a lot more build up to it that was unnecessary. But yeah, the rooms are disappointing. I think that goes without saying. There were cool concepts, but because the movie in general wasn't well executed, I don't think the rooms save it. Next, we have non-characters, all of them. Every single character in this movie is a non-character. There is absolutely nothing interesting about these characters, including the 2 that came in from the first movie. They took away all of Ben's personality. He was a completely different person in Tournament of Champions. He was kind of like a shitbag in the first one, chain smoker, selfish, and I get it. He's been traumatized. He's changed his ways. He likes Zoe now, and he wants to be supportive, but he's literally so boring in the second one. He has no personality now. They tried to play it up a little bit with him trying to light a cigarette in the car, and she's like, don't do that. We're not smoking in the car. It was just so boring. I did not genuinely care about any of these characters, which is so different from the first movie. In the first escape room, we have very well thought out, flushed out characters. We get backstories. We even get flashbacks and visuals of their backstories. We get to see why they are the way they are and who they are, and they feel fleshed out. Do they feel exactly like real people? Not really, but they're characters and they matter, and we care about their deaths. The death scenes are intense in the first one because we do care about these people. The second one, all we get is like one little fun fact. Oh, this one's a priest. That's it. This girl, she doesn't feel any pain. These things never come back into play, which they had so many chances to do so, to make the backstory of these characters come into play. Like the influencer could have, you know, done something else. The priest could have, you know, had to test his faith in some way, because that was the whole concept of his tournament, right? Of his escape room was a bunch of priests, and they had to see if faith is enough. So they could have, you know, used that symbolism later in Tournament of Champions, but they don't. The potential that you have with stuff like that, and then they just take it absolutely nowhere. That's not enough for me to care about someone, just to know one little fun fact about them. I don't know who these people are. I think because we're supposed to have already built up this character in our heads of Zoe and Ben, that's enough for us. Like, that's enough character in this movie that we don't need to flesh out the other characters, because, you know, they're gonna die anyway. Sorry, spoiler. Speaking of characters and Zoe and Ben and weirdness, what's that relationship about? They have no chemistry at all. They tried actually they didn't try at all. They put in one scene where it's like slightly awkward tension between Zoe and Ben, and he's like, oh, smooth, because he like messes up a situation. I don't know. Why can't they just be friends? Why do they have to have like this weird romance? I get that you can you know, develop romance when you're in a traumatic situation with someone else, and that's probably what happened, but I get nothing from these people. Like, they just don't have any chemistry, these characters. And that makes it so we're supposed to believe the ending of this movie and think that we care enough about them together or them as a relationship. No, it doesn't work. We're only about halfway through my nitpicky points of why I dislike this movie. Moving on. ADR. Adding dubbing over scenes, over previously filmed scenes, and then going and filming lines in a studio and then dubbing the movie. Can we not do that? Like, I understand it's necessary sometimes. These sets were large and, you know, they probably couldn't nail the audio every single time. Like, they get the shot, but the audio isn't great. So they have to refilm the audio in a separate location. Could it be maybe we don't have them read it off a piece of paper? Like, it felt like all the ADR added was just read off a script. And some of the lines multiple times did not even match the movement of their mouth. There was one time with Ben and one time with Zoe that I distinctly remember the voice did not match what their lips were doing, and it was very frustrating. The budget's big enough, I think we can avoid that, you know? For instance, this is a spoiler for the end of the movie, but when Ben is in the water tank in the end and he's like yelling and, you know, because he's, you know, the water's filling the thing, his lips say make it stop, but the voice says get me out of here. So those things don't add up. It's very brief, but I caught it and I should not be able to see that. Like I said, since we're doing spoilers now, let's just get right into it. Like I said, the plot points or the character facts about these people don't really come back into play. The girl who can't feel any pain, I wanted a flashback scene. I wanted to see her like battle it out, and I thought that we were going to, but clearly not. I mean, her whole escape room situation was that none of these people could feel pain. They all have like this type of disorder where they can't feel pain, and she's like, can you imagine what kind of things they had to do or what kind of things they could get away with? No, please show me. Please tell me. I want to see it. Why couldn't this one just be that? Why couldn't Escape Room 2 just be like something cool like that? I want to see the priest battle it out, you know? Influencers sounds like a good time. I want to see them do it. I don't want to see the same characters come back and do just, you know, rooms. I get they're all champions, but let's talk about that champion thing. Actually, we'll come back to the girl who can't feel pain. The whole concept of the Tournament of Champions does not make sense in the world, and they've actually created their own plot hole here with that, because they address it in the beginning of the movie when they're in the subway and Ben's like, wait a minute, the guy at the end of my escape room tried to choke me. He tried to kill me. How did you guys get out? Aren't we not supposed to be alive? And they just kind of brush it off. Like, no one really says anything. It's just like, yeah. Anyway, we gotta get moving. Like, we gotta do the... How about you, like, have a blatant explanation for that? How did everyone else, did they all escape too? Are we supposed to know that? They all got out like Ben did? I don't know. I thought that that's the whole point. They're betting on these people and then they kill them. And then, yeah. So why are there champions? I don't know. Maybe I missed a huge plot point in this movie. If you want to tell me if I missed something, I'm pretty sure I didn't. They did address it, but they didn't actually explain anything. So they just created their own plot hole. I don't know. It's really frustrating. Anyway, the only other time that the girl who can't feel pain comes up is in the Acid City room where she starts touching things, and then the influencer girl's like, no, it's covered in acid. And she's like, it's okay. I don't feel it. And then that's it. That's like, it literally happens like that. That's it. Like, there's so much potential with that. Like, show us at least her backstory, like flashbacks like you did in the first one. Like, I just feel like they got lazy with this one and just did a bunch of CGI and called it a day. Like, it's just so hard to believe that Adam Robitel is so talented to make Escape Room, the first one, and also The Taking of Deborah Logan, and just really amazing movies, which that one's one of my favorite found footage movies of all time, and then makes Tournament of Champions. And I'm like, are you good? Did you spend as much time on this as you really should have? I just think the writing is one of the biggest downfalls for this movie. It's honestly horrible. Some of the lines are so bad. Like, you never know what Minos is gonna do next. Again, it's a show don't tell situation. They told us so much. Oh my God. So many of the scenes could have been removed. I feel like the whole relationship between Ben and Zoe could have been removed. You know, they could have started in New York. We didn't need the whole therapy scene, which comes into play, granted. I know I'm complaining like, oh, this stuff that never comes back. It comes back. But the whole first 20 minutes of this movie could have been cut out. Them on the road trip, the nightmare that Ben has, the, you know, motel scene in general. They could have just been like, let's go. And he's like, okay. And then they're in New York. We get that they drove there because she's scared of flying. We get that. We know. So why do we have to watch them drive there? Now let's talk about the plot twist. Obviously, major spoiler for this movie. If you didn't see it, it didn't happen. That's the plot twist. So basically it erases everything that happened in the first movie. It takes away all of that tension. Now that I've seen the sequel, is the first one even going to be as good? Probably not. The deaths in the first one are so intense, and then what you've just done is take away all of that tensity, is that a word? Tension. You're just taking away all the tension of the deaths in the first one. Amanda's death literally never, it doesn't even happen. Like, she doesn't even die. She's like, if you didn't see me die, I didn't die. And then obviously it comes back into play because Ben just got sucked into the sand, and obviously he's still alive. So what about the other guy, the priest that's sucked into the sand? Is he alive? The guy in the first movie in the water, in the ice room, he just like, he looked like he died, but he drifted off. So did they revive him? I'm really skeptical that they're just gonna bring back other people from the first movie in the third movie. It was frustrating because it makes the first movie worse. Like, it makes it worse, and now that experience has been taken away from me, and I'm upset about it because obviously the deaths are like sad because we care about the people in the first movie, and now it's just like, well, if you didn't see it, it didn't happen. All right, okay, so I guess we're just bringing people back now. That's what, like, such a cop-out in the horror genre is like, well, they're not really dead. And finally, in the end of the movie, it just ends in the exact same place as the first movie, as the ending of the first movie, so it makes us all question, what was the point? What was the point of any of that? We're literally in the same spot of the first movie, in the end of the first movie. So what did we achieve? What happened? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So there will be a third one, I'm assuming, because of how they built up the end of the second one, which I'm just now not even excited about, which is frustrating because this had such potential for a great franchise, and they just kind of are letting it die, and they just were lazy in the second one. Maybe it's a situation where it does get the Final Destination treatment, and the second one is a direct sequel to the first one, but then the third and continuing is all different from each other and just new people. That's all I want. I just want to see more escape rooms, you know? I want to see more characters that are interesting and then watch them die in an escape room. Like, that's the point of the first movie. I know that sounds dark, but like, that's the point. And the second one, we just didn't get that. We didn't even get character development with Zoe and Ben anymore. Like, no more. It just, they thought the first one did it all. So, and then they just took away all of their personality for the second one. So I'm just frustrated. Listen, I have high respect for Adam Robitel, love his work a lot. I'm just highly disappointed in the writing and, I mean, so many things in the second one, as stated in this video. Like, I just feel like there are so many things, like missed opportunities throughout, that was frustrating as a viewer to watch and someone who's a fan of the first one. So I would love to hear your thoughts. I saw a lot of you actually say that you really enjoyed the second one, and I want to ask why. Like, what did you get out of it that was similar to the first one? Was it just the rooms? Because I agree, the rooms were cool, original, interesting ideas. But yeah, I want to know your thoughts on Tournament of Champions if you've seen it. If not, I just explained all of it for you, so you don't have to. But yeah, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts down below. Sorry for kind of a negative video, but I just had to get all my thoughts out there and tell you about it because I'm a little upset, still upset. It's been a couple days and I'm still mad. So yeah, tell me your thoughts down below in a comment. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.